I met a gypsy.
Wild feeling to go from I don't know that many people would have got a chance to ride that bike.
A steel bike to aluminum bike or something?
Well, like a 96 to like a modern 450 now.
Oh,
it's such a huge difference.
When I left Suzuki after those 7 months and we went and did that Chaparral team with Yamaha.
Yeah, another great steel frame.
Another great steel frame. So that bike was we made that Yamaha a lot like that CR.
Yeah.
Right? And if you saw what happened in the history of the sport then, Honda took Lusk from Yamaha.
Yeah.
And I went to Yamaha.
Yeah, yeah.
So we swapped spots and he was made to ride the aluminum bike. He was badass fast.
Yeah.
Crashed his ass off on that bike and never, he would win races. He'd win a race, maybe win 2 races. And then the next 3 races, he'd crash super hard.
Yeah.
So there's times that if you were maybe perfect
on it, or the track was a bit
you
more
could do it.
Yeah.
But man, to your point of the aluminum, the steel, everyone came out with aluminum when it was, and made them super, super stiff.
Why?
Right?
Do you know why they did it? Did they communicate
I don't know.
what the...
No.
Because
I never really got a reason why they were doing that.
You'd have to think it would be easier to manufacture the steel frames. I don't know. Like, there's always some weird reason why people do shit that you might not think, you know?
Yeah. Well, I don't know, but what they did is they spent the next 5-6 years trying to figure out how to soften it up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. And then KTM stayed with the steel frame, and they keep going stiffer and stiffer and stiffer and stiffer. And you're going to get to the point where they were with the first aluminum frames, right?
Yeah.
So it's going to be tough to ride.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Sometimes, I think with engineering and you can't just ask the riders. If they would ask me, I would just say, hey, the bike's good. Just
don't change it.
Give me this same bike until I'm done racing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just give me this exact same bike every year. We can win on this.
Yeah.
But if the engineers always ask the riders, you're going to get 3 different inputs. Then they're going to be like,
true.
okay, what do we build? So they kind of have to just go, all right, we're going to go this direction and let's stick with it. And the way the manufacturers work now, and you probably know this, they go in 4-year increments.
Yeah.
Right? They come out with something good, bad, or indifferent. And they're going to work with that thing for 4 seasons.
Yeah. Because you can get a bike good in that time.
And then by if it's not, like the Cowie out, the 450 out now is excellent. The thing is so
23.
good. The 23 model is bitching. That's what these guys are all riding. It's such a really rider-friendly bike, so fun. And now they have a new model, right? So they'll have to figure out how to work on that one and do what they're going to do to it, make it a race bike. And then they're going to have 4 years to refine that.
Yeah.
And then teams come out with a new bike by then, And so they sort of have a system. And like I said, good, bad, or indifferent. You can't really ask the riders because each rider has a different input.
Yeah.
So they got to just go with how the engineering sort of world works. And the riders don't quite understand that, I think. And I just got caught up in the engineering cycle, really.
Yeah.
No matter what, I was winning. And of course I'm biased. They should have asked me, like, hey, what do you want to do?
Yeah.
Well, I just won all those races. Maybe we should this bike's pretty
almost had a perfect
badass.
season. So let's try and do that.
Yeah, let's build a bike that's completely opposite of the winning bike. So looking back, I wish like, oh, hey, someone would have come talk to me about that. But it's not how it works. It's just not how it works. So, we wouldn't have the story of how it all happened if that's what happened. So
that's so true.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Dude, my first ever bike that I bought. So we had like mini bikes when I was a kid. I had some bad crashes, and then we'd never fixed the bike that I had, whatever. So then I was just obsessed with getting a bike. Dad basically said, you got to save up, get your own one. So anyway, the bike, when I had enough money to buy a bike, guess what the first fucking bike I bought was? It was a 1997 CR125.
Oh, one of the worst bikes ever.
And I got on this thing.
Yeah.
And we didn't even go to like a motocross track. We went up like kind of, we were up in like the bush kind of thing.
Yeah.
So we went up, and there was this airstrip, like dirt airstrip, and my brother, who was like 13, jumps on this thing. He's like, I want to have a ride of it. He had a TTR 125.
Oh,
so that was the bike.
Really slow bike going on to that.
And then so anyway, he gets on my bike and just fucking gets it into 6th gear, and this thing just goes and then dude, there's yard sale my brand new bike.
No way.
Broke his wrist, smashed the bike to a million pieces. And I was like, fuck, I'm kind of scared of that thing after that.
Yeah.
And then, dude, every single time I rode that bike.
You crashed it?
probably crash, but just head shake.
Yeah.
Like, just every time I went down a straight, I remember like...
Well, you were little at the time too, so...
Yeah, and I'd be like
remember how wide the bars used to feel when you were little? Like, it felt like such a giant bike.
Oh, and every time I went to get a tear off, it was like life or death, eh? Like, you just hold your breath, but...
Yeah. That's so funny. Because I always say now, I mean, I didn't ride 125s at that time, right? Because that was right when I switched up. I was riding 250s at the time. That bike, when they came out with a 97 CR250, I'm always like, that has to be the worst bike ever made. Because imagine your 125 with twice the power and that same frame.
The worst.
I mean, you were just, it was a death machine.
When you hit the throttle, and then, funny enough, so I bought a 98 CR250, but for the motor, because they actually have a badass motor.
Yeah.
And because I wanted a spare for the 96, and then we did a bike. Me and my dad built a 2012 CRF 450 chassis with that 98. So we were like, let's get one of these basically for the engine.
Did a conversion, yeah.
But man, I remember we bought that bike and I started it for the first time and was sitting, and I just had normal shoes on. And just like crack the throttle and the vibration that you would feel in your shit. I was like, this is got to be the worst.
Old 490 style, air-cooled Yamaha style vibrations.
And Dad's like, do you want to take this thing for a ride on the track before we rip it apart? And I was like, fuck no. I was like, burn this chassis, melt it down, turn it into a fucking tire iron. Like, that's the only thing.
Exactly. Get rid of this thing fast.
Let's get rid of it. I don't like its energy. I don't like anything about it.
Well, I mean, I think, if you probably asked any of those engineers at Honda, they were first to jump on that aluminum thing, right? They didn't win from me until Carmichael. Right, so Carmichael in 2002 finally.
Yeah.
Right,
and then he gets a perfect season on the thing.
Right. Well, I mean, you remember the setup on that bike that he had? It was funky as all could be.
Bars all the way down, probably 120 millisag.
And the bars back from the center, from the stem, like it was a wild setup.
I think they were cutting the subframe down like 15 mils. Oh yeah,
seat was nothing. Like it was a wild setup. It worked for him. It's fine, but I mean those times were lean. So that if you ask them now, you're like, maybe we shouldn't have probably done that. You know what I mean?
We're excited to announce the launch of our new membership site, gypsytales.com, packed with exclusive content and perks that you won't find anywhere else. This is your chance to become a part of the Gypsy Gang. And as a special bonus, if you sign up to an annual membership, you'll be entered into the draw to win our custom-built TC125. Gypsy Gang.